This time on Ask Rad Rat, we're talking about Steve Rocco and the new World Industries. Let's get into it. Welcome to Rad Rat Video. Here on this channel, we learn something new about skateboarding 3 times a week. So subscribe so you don't miss out on stuff like trick histories, game reviews of skateboarding games, and answering your questions on this series, Ask Rad Rat. Today we got 2 questions, both talking about Steve Rocco one way or the other. The first one is from Empty Self, who asked, could you talk about World Industries and where they went? I recently saw ads for them making decks and clothes again. Is this a new owner or what? So I actually saw this recently as well. Me and my wife were looking for, she wanted some flip-flops. We went to a place called Shoe Carnival and we saw a big display of World Industries skate shoes. And I looked at them for a second, they were like $40. I think they were on sale or clearance or whatever. And I don't know, they looked okay. They didn't look great, but I had no idea what they were, if they were really legitimate or not. So I went and I did some research about it. World Industries was originally sold back in the day in '98 for $29 million. And since then, it's changed hands quite a few times. Right now, since 2007, I believe, it was owned by IE Distribution. And so they've done very little with the brand from what I can see, at least in the US and in the professional level skate market. People have talked about how they've seen kind of Walmart level boards from them that are out in department stores and stuff. I haven't actually seen any of those myself, but it seems like that's mostly what they've been focusing on. And if you go to their site, it's kind of a crappy site. It looks like just a template with their name in it. Like they didn't put a lot of effort into it. There's a lot of stuff that's just missing and pages that are blank, all kinds of stuff like that. It doesn't seem very legit. But on their About Us page, they talk about how they fired Wet Willie and Flame Boy. And then if you go to their decks page, the only decks that they have those characters on them. So it's kind of weird. It seems like they make 3 like pro level decks. They're also doing the shoes and then I guess hats and stuff like that right now. I don't know what they're trying to do. It seems like they're trying to get back into the legit skateboarding world. Their team page has 1 person on it. So I don't really know where it's going right now. But to me, I wouldn't really trust it. I wouldn't waste my money or gamble my money buying any of their stuff the way that it is right now. There's so many other choices. And I don't know who these IE distribution guys are. It's not a skater owned brand anymore. It's just kind of some garbage. I don't know if it's any good or not. Let me know if you've tried any of this stuff. I was kind of tempted to buy those shoes because they were so cheap, but I get the feeling that they are just actually cheap, and they would fall apart in 10 minutes. So I don't know, they seem a little bit sketchy, but we'll see what they do with the brand in the coming years. The next question was from Hans Albers from Germany, and he asks, did Steve Rocco have a bad influence on skateboarding? And the first thing I thought when he asked this was that Steve Rocco inspired Rodney Mullen. And so with the way that freestyle was at the time, before Rocco, a lot of stuff was just like handstands and carving and turning and doing manual stuff, balance tricks and all that. And then Rocco started doing actual just rolling tricks where you roll, do a trick, and keep rolling, which is kind of weird to think that had a inventor pretty kind of, but Rocco was doing some of that stuff first. Rodney Mullen was inspired by him, copied him a lot, and then went off in the direction he went. And so because of that, Rocco actually had a really huge influence on skateboarding in a positive way back then. This is, 79 or so. Actually watch my video about the Pop Shove It, and you'll see he had a really huge role in that as well. So I asked Hans what he meant, like what kind of bad influence is he talking about? And he was talking about the end of the 80s and into the mid 90s, especially in Germany, that's where he's from. And he talks about how with World Industries in particular, they're making a lot of just really cheap stuff and just cranking it out. Always new brands, always new teams, new pros, and it was just really hard to keep up with. And that a lot of people that he knew, almost everybody he knew, stopped skating around that time just because they just didn't like the environment that he was starting to build. And if you watch The Man Who Sold the World, sold with a U, the documentary about him, you'll see kind of some of the sketchy business practices and stuff that he was into. It was more of like personal attacks and stuff. It wasn't just about making the best product. So I can kind of see what he's talking about. He also talks about how they kind of had a negative attitude as far as like drugs and partying and all that kind of stuff. Hans has kids now. He wants to have a more positive skateboarding influence, and I can definitely see where he's coming from. If you watch that documentary, you can see it wasn't that Rocco himself really promoted that. It's just that he didn't care and he allowed it, and he let the guys on his team living in the World Industries house just do whatever they want, all that kind of stuff. But you know, the thing is, all told, I think Rocco was definitely a good thing in general. I think skateboarding had to go in that direction with the companies, I mean. And it would have happened one way or the other, because before World Industries and before having all these different brands that spawned, there were only a few really big names, and they were all getting more and more corporate. And I think the idea that breaking down into more skater-owned, smaller, like family-size companies was actually a positive thing in general. There was more competition, for one, competition in the market, not in like skateboard competitions, but so the prices were actually going down. You see ads from the 80s where skateboards completes were over $100, you know, like the same as they are now, even with inflation. So prices were starting to go down with more competition. There was more competition in making the best shape and really developing skateboarding in general. You're trying like boards trying slick bottom decks, you know, all this different kind of stuff. And I think that he may have gone about it in bad ways a lot of the time, but the things that he did have a positive effect. So right now, I think there's a lot of other people you can blame for drug use and skateboarding and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of what's going to happen, I think. You give kids a ton of money, you know, and let them do whatever they want, they're going to get into partying and stuff. So I don't know if Rocco's really to blame for that. But that's what I thought about Rocco. Let me know what you think below in the comments. Also, both of these questions were from direct messages on either Instagram or Twitter. That's the best way to ask questions for the series. They pop right up on my tablet. I can see them. I don't need to scroll through 800 comments about how much they hate me and how they're going to kill me and my family like you see on YouTube. So send me them there and I will get them a lot quicker. So that's it for this time. Here's some more videos you can check out I did recently. There's also a playlist of all the Ask Rad Rats right there. And don't forget to subscribe by tapping my logo above so you can learn something new about skateboarding 3 times a week. Thanks for watching.